Hello, Libra. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. All right, Libra, very simply, it's time for you to start breaking your own rules if you're not getting the results that you want. So, mortality, life is brief, bright, beautiful, and yours to live, and then you have by the book. Now, by the book doesn't surprise me when it comes to Libra because we want to do things in a way that creates fairness and balance for everyone. But if you're not seeing any results, then conforming is something that is not going to work this time because you're getting a reminder here that your life is short. You are meant to live life, have fun, experience things, but you may be like oppressed or confined by a set of rules that you think is like the right way to do something in your life. But, the other thing that I would say is if somebody else is not following those rules, then maybe it's time to, kind of give up on that. Maybe we need to do things in a different way that isn't so strict, which can be the case for some of you. But, the set rules and customs and all of that is not working. And it kind of shows up again here. So from Moonology, you have the new moon in Aquarius, bring love into the situation. Now, the very first thing it says is explore the idea that it's not what you know, but whom you know. So it's not what the situation is about. It's about the person, which is why you're being asked to bring love into the situation. It says you need to be more detached from the situation. Thinking outside the box will bring the solution. And there you go. Again, there's like this Hierophant in reverse type of feeling here. It says more pragmatism is called for and improve your karma by doing something charitable. It's funny how every one of these cards, the last thing that's noted is something we should all be doing. So I kind of look at that like, okay, fine, But right now I'm more concerned with the situation you're dealing with. But I do think that thinking outside the box is going to be the best solution here. But so with the Five of Pentacles, very clearly you have been on the outside of a situation, possibly involving other people, or you are dealing with third-party situations here where, you don't know what's going on. The Two of Swords being your overall. You know that you're going to have to make a choice that is going to be difficult, but you cannot ignore a situation anymore. So it's time to take that blindfold off and make that difficult choice. Otherwise, if you continue to be in this position of this stalemate, nothing is going to move forward because you are just head down, blinded all the way coming out. Now, going back to the Five of Pentacles, I don't think that this is about financial issues. I really don't. I think it's really about, you being rejected, cast out, being left out of what is going on with a situation, possibly with another person here. And this isn't good. It doesn't feel good at all. And I think that you have been trying to look past this. But I think that, now is the time for you to start making this decision instead of staying in this place of feeling like you are trapped and being let down. The Seven of Pentacles in the present moment with Temperance, I think that there is a part of you that is trying to look at things objectively. And I think that you are trying to regain your balance here and reevaluate the situation in a way where we can look at where there can be better growth. But I don't think that you're happy with what you have to show for this situation. And I think you may be looking at it like, is it worth getting invested in again if this is all I'm ever going to see? Is this it, or is there more? And I think with Temperance, you are trying to come from that place of balance here. But I think that you're also kind of looking at the situation like, maybe I need to practice that moderation here and not get so caught up with the idea that maybe it's worth continuing. And I think that that is where the hurt emotions are coming through with the Five of Cups, besides being let down by somebody, being rejected by somebody not letting you know what's going on. But you're going to have to face those emotions in order for you to make a choice that is going to get you unstuck from this situation. Now, your best path to follow being the Nine of Wands. I mean, besides protecting yourself here, I think that you knew this. You knew this about this person, this situation. You knew that you were more invested than they were. And it doesn't feel good. But I think that, the thing is if you make a choice here, I think that a lot of you are kind of like looking at this with the Nine of Wands going, okay, well, what's going to happen after this? And there is that kind of feeling of paranoia with this one. But I also look at that and I think that it's important for you to protect yourself here and not allow something back in that's going to throw you off balance. But, you're going to have to prepare, though, to make a really difficult choice in your life to possibly cut someone out and cut something out. Because you were already cut out before. So why let this back in? But it doesn't feel good, right? And you're going to have to face that. Now, your hopes and fears with the Empress, I think that you're looking at that, and for some of you, yeah, you could be worried about, your ability to kind of like enjoy your life. And, again, mortality, right? But I don't necessarily think that you're going to be worried about financial security and stability. I think it's about you being a little bit more realistic about, what can potentially happen here. And if it's even worth investing into anymore. But going back to the Empress, so you're also talking about caring, giving, nurturing. Are you too giving of yourself? Have you been too giving of yourself in this situation? Is it time for you to start enjoying your life, right? Because the Empress is going to be about enjoying the physical senses and the abundance that's around you. But the thing is you're not going to be able to if you continue to stay in this situation. The Eight of Swords says that your mind just can't get past the thoughts that there is no way through. But you are intentionally blinding yourself to a situation here, and you're not really dealing with difficult emotions though either. So I think that you're trying to become unstuck, right? You're trying to find your courage and your strength to kind of like take the action that's necessary. But I kind of feel like with the Eight of Wands here, besides communication, it may feel like, everything is kind of like up in the air right now, out of control. But, we're also talking about you needing to take a leap of faith when it comes to getting out of a situation here, getting things back on track and finding the strength to do that, right? But then in terms of communication, I don't think that someone is being direct enough with you to make you think that it's worth trying again. So, again, with the Fool and looking at the Five of Pentacles, right? Maybe we took too much of a risk here. Maybe we feel like the Fool, which can be the case. But I also kind of feel like you need to have a little bit more faith in yourself here. And stop allowing yourself to believe that this is the situation that you are stuck with. Because it's not easy when you look at the Two of Swords, right? Having to make this difficult choice, knowing that something is going to be cut out, right? And again, with the Eight of Wands here, besides communication, I don't know. I don't feel like somebody's being very direct. But I do think that, with Temperance here, you're trying to get things lined up so that we can get to a completion on this. And you're at the 8 here. You're almost there. But you can't get to a completion here if you don't make a choice to act. And that may be the problem here. But again, with strength, we're trying to find strength to do this, to make this choice here, to become unstuck from an unhappy situation. And then I wonder too, though, if some of you, You may be looking at yourselves as like you're a caring, giving, nurturing person here for somebody who, you know, maybe can't do things on their own. But the thing is you can't continue to give of yourself and, you know, put yourself in this position where you're just unhappy. And resilience, you'll be able to bounce back, and so will the other person. So wisdom is telling you that it is time to take action. And once that happens, then you'll be able to bounce back. But like I said, I think that the other person will too. And consider your foundation. You're being asked to look at how committed you are to love. And maybe the loving thing to do here is to, you know, finally make this choice, you know. And you don't, none of this is indicating here, despite the fact that the way that you were treated in the past is wrong. And I feel like that's what you experienced, but yet you're still very caring, giving, nurturing here. But I think that the best way to show this person love is to say enough is enough. We need to take action here and look at, you know, how committed we actually are to a relationship, possibly for some of you. But what I was thinking is that it kind of has the feeling of, I need to do this. I'm not trying to hurt you, but this is for me now. And again, I go back to mortality. So it's not like you're coming from a place of evil intent. But I think that maybe you are really tired though too and drained by this. But you're going to have to look at what action you're going to have to take to be able to bounce back from this. But believe me, if you make a difficult choice to cut somebody out, they will be able to bounce back too. And maybe that is the loving thing to do, is no longer enabling somebody though too.